did it again. Game out. Good. Got tiger hats on. I'm doing my Magnum PI impression. Okay, I guess not. I don't know. But as he is older, maybe he gets older. But I know. Some people did say I look a lot like Thomas Magnum when I was younger. Anyway, what we got here is another hour of the famous, famous group called the Off Night, and the Off Night is basically a bunch of very old Magnum-like PI comics who are going to talk to you about things that are happening today, and our leader and MC and host, whatever you want to call him, Mr. Mark Sweetman, is going to do that for us.
Hey, I'm getting it down here. I'm getting it down. All right. Let me turn that. Yeah. I was able to turn the music up after you introduced me, so that I could rock on in. Right here. Let me bring you up here.
Okay.
And then I was able to rock in. So I figured out I could use both fingers, and because I'm using Jason's touchscreen, I can put me on and turn the music up.
Wow, we are advancing at a slow but still steady rate, which is very good. Yeah, I watched Moneyball again today, so I'm going like maybe we should apply Moneyball tactics here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you have one thing that happens, so it's like trying to get Damon. We'll just hire like 3 different people to do what your job is. Okay. So have one guy come in, do the sound effects. One guy come in and do the music. One guy come in and do the bringing up the screen and putting the screen down. So that it'll be like the Moneyball. Hire 3 guys to take one guy's job. So
yeah, I kind of like the way we did it when I was starting off with Seth Wrestler, and he did all the technical stuff because he was a technical guy.
There you go.
I mean, he's the guy who's basically all the guys who do podcasts and live streams of their radio shows in Detroit. He's the guy that sets them up. So,
got it.
And he took the dojo back in the day when we were still over at Big Tommy's. That's how I met him. Anyway, anything new before we go to Susan?
Yeah, I went to see David Tell this week.
Oh, how was it? Oh, the 4:00 show. You showed me that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was at 4:00 in the afternoon. So it's like, penises and dick jokes in the afternoon. But other than that, it was okay, But it was interesting. He is constantly working off the audience.
Right.
Audience was way too alert.
Too alert at 4 a.m.
Too alert at 4 in the afternoon,
I tell you, John Heffron is doing afternoon shows too.
Oh yeah.
That just makes sense. I mean, here you are. You're doing all these shows all week, and you're going to be, it's either a fly day home Sunday, and you can, if you're doing a 4:00 show, you can get on the plane by 8:00 and still make it home in time. You know what I mean?
Make some extra money.
And now you're not cutting out all the people that don't go out at 9 or 10 o'clock at night anymore. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So he's doing. It was packed. It was totally packed.
No, well, there you go. There's the proof right there. They're making money with it, so it's going to keep coming. Going to be happening. Now Ridley and Roger Feeney, they'll never give me the credit for it, but I was saying this 12 years ago. So
well, there you go. Well, see, that's it. Like I actually had
David Tell and John Heffron are younger than me, so they had to get to my age that I was when I was suggesting this before they thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, I had the goat in the back of my cab because he went to Ann Arbor
goat.
U of M.
Yeah.
And I tell people, he was in the back of my cab, but I taught him everything he knew, about deflating the ball and then, throwing it spirally,
Oh, is that what happened? He was in the back of your cab, so you got out. You kind of got out and deflated your tire. See? Huh?
Yeah.
See? I can grab this tire now. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Very funny. Anything else, or can we get to the poem?
No, I was just going to say that Mark Maron is that Mark Maron and Janine Garofalo all have that kind of like interacting, working off the audience, interacting. It's like their whole show is that.
Yeah.
So
it's what they called. There was a name for it.
Alternate comedy.
Alternate alt comedy. That's
Alt
it.
comedy. That's also Patton Oswalt, and that's but Patton Oswalt
Yep.
is more sex.
Patton Oswalt's in that group. Yep.
Yeah, and Marie Bamford. I watched a series of Marie Bamford stuff, and she's.
Now,
This,
did you ever see the show she did with her parents?
Yes.
The only audience was her parents. I mean,
they have it on Hulu.
Oh, do they?
3 of her specials on Hulu.
Yeah, just when we canceled Hulu, we'll get it back.
Yeah, and they have Janine Garofalo and Mark Maron on there. So.
Yeah. All right.
Good.
Well, let's get Susan out here, and we'll have her do her
poem.
Hey, Susan.
Hi.
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 Great set last night.
Thank you very much.
look more and more comfortable on stage all the time. We got to do something with Eileen Meyer, though. Oh my God.
Okay.
So this isn't
I have a backstory on Eileen Meyer.
This isn't about beginners, so let's not go there tonight. Okay.
All right. When we're off the air, Andy, you can tell me your story.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So
I'm gonna put you on solo screen, so you read us her poem, Susan.
you are okay. Want me to hold it in front of the camera?
No.
All right. Here's your poem for this week. This week in the news, listen up, do not snooze. Donald Sutherland died. Willie Mays too, we cried. Israel and Hezbollah conflict grows. Wider regional war, God only knows. China attacked Philippines boats, and Los Angeles County sends in the goats. Celtics beat the Mavericks in the NBA. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Our nation calls it a bummer as heat waves start the summer. And that's your poem.
All right. Thank you very much. Now let me get the other guys out here to say hello to you before you take off. Here's our buddy from New York. Oh, wait a minute. He's not there. Oh, there he is. Okay. There's our buddy from New York City. Here he is, everybody. Sam Greenfield.
Hezbollah, blah.
Hey, Sarah. Yes.
All right. And
Nice poem, Susan.
Thank you very
Isn't
much.
she do a great job? You should see her stand up, Sam. She's really doing well.
It might be tough for me because I'm here.
Yeah, that's
right.
well, we'll get her into New York. Anyway, yeah, she's I introduce her as the mom who does dad jokes.
By the way,
Pretty accurate.
you said
Very
something
funny.
last week, Mark,
Yeah.
and every time I think about it, I laugh. I laugh out loud. People think I'm insane, but that could be.
What did I say?
You're not Lotus Weinstock.
Well, I told you the story about it too, didn't I?
Yes.
Did I
yes.
tell it on the air? I can't remember.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
But I thought to myself,
You're not Lotus Weinstein.
the first thing that would have come to my mind to say was, oh, well, yeah.
I think he meant it to compliment Lotus and to sort of
denigrate you.
It tamped me down a little bit. You know what?
Yeah, if you're going to get tamped down, don't do it in comparison to Lotus Weinstock. Jesus, take it easy.
My favorite Lotus Weinstock line was, I married Mr. Right. Mr. Always goddamn right. I love that line.
That is funny.
Speaking of which, Mark, where's those mugs I gave you for our anniversary?
All right, take over the hosting, Susan. I'll go get those mugs. I got to find them. I don't know what I did, but I think your daughters put them away. And
Wow.
So no, I don't know what it is. Oh, you know what else your daughters did? I keep telling them don't leave the air conditioning on if they're going to leave the house. And I got home, the house was burning. It still hasn't cooled off yet. I'm burning up here. Anyway, so they actually listen to me. They're turning down the air conditioning and not wasting electricity when they're not home.
Yeah, they're doing
Is it still hot in Detroit?
It's hot enough to have air
cooled
conditioning.
off a little bit, but
It's
it
very
had
cool
been
here.
in the 90s. So.
It was very cool here today.
It's no Caribou, Maine. That's for sure.
No, it's like right now it's probably about 78 degrees here.
Oh, that's not bad. I'll take that.
No, I'll take that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't. Wait a minute. I was supposed to bring Jason. I forgot all about Jason.
Don't forget Jason.
Let's get Jason Grant out here because you hear us talking.
Hi, Jason. He did not
Hi,
forget
guys.
about you because there you are.
I'm just listening to the banter. Great poem as always, Susan.
Thank you.
Great banter too, right?
Yeah.
What's
so
that
Mark-
behind you, Jason?
Oh, that's Bill Belichick and his squeeze.
Ah,
That's come between them.
Is that now? Did you actually have the photograph blown up to put on your wall, or is that just some sort of a something in your
It's
lap?
actually the both of them. I had them mounted and stuffed and put behind me.
Hey,
That'll teach them to answer the door. Won't make that mistake again.
By the way, I accidentally hit a button when I started your Chrome. What is this thing called? iPad.
Yeah.
And I accidentally hit the update button. And all of a sudden your stuff's coming. I shut it down immediately. I do not want to update. I don't want to see what updates first.
By the way,
for Jason's iPad.
Hey, don't worry about it. I've sworn off porn for almost half a weekend now.
That's a lot of strength, brother.
Yeah,
that's a lot of strength.
You know, porn used to mean a lot to me back in the day, but that was like 15 minutes ago. And so now
you're much older and wiser now.
Much older now. And
speaking of being older and wiser, yours truly is now older than I was last week.
63.
Oh, you're 38.
She's 63.
There you go.
She looks great.
Oh, you're just a punk kid.
That's right. I'm a baby.
She's the best.
Mark robbed the cradle.
That's right. Did I ever tell you that joke about my brother was?
Go ahead.
My brother was dating, or actually was engaged to marry a woman 17 years older than he was. And this is when I was just starting doing comedy. And the line I did about it always got huge laughs. I said, "Yeah, she's 17 years older. He's robbing the lazy boy."
That's funny. That's very funny. By the way, do you know who's most upset about Bill Belichick dating that woman? Every other woman. Every other woman. You know who's not upset about? Not one man I've ever talked to.
Well, I'm not upset.
You know what? She's over the age of 18. In fact, she's way over the age. She's 6 years over the age of 18, so she's old enough to make her own decisions. So I don't care.
I always use the excuse that they were told me they were 18. It's worked most of the time.
Well, you go with your strengths, Jason.
you know, at a certain point, guys, you just got to lean into it. I mean, it's what am I supposed to do at this point? I look like I come out of serial killer central casting.
That's not a bad thing.
Speaking of central casting, Andy, how's your diet? How's your diet going, or whatever thing you're? I ask him as he's putting a spoonful into his mouth.
It's watermelon, folks. It's watermelon.
Oh, it's watermelon. Good for you.
Yeah.
So
how's
it going?
Good for you. A lot of water.
Lost about 45 pounds so far.
How much?
45.
God bless you.
Well, Andy, you have served as an inspiration to me, and I'm not kidding about this. I've been on a diet for all of 3 days now. No joke.
Oh, cool.
And I'm in that first week. You remember what that was like not all that long ago, right? Those first few days when you're like, why am I doing this? What's the point? The Dairy Queen is right there. I have money in my pocket. Who's to stop me?
Jingle billing.
So what do you, I joined the HMR program, and
what does that stand for? HMR.
As I said, I think it just stands for Have More Raisin Bran. But other than that,
well, you mentioned Dairy Queen, and I must say, when I haven't had Dairy Queen in well over a year, it was very nice to have Dairy Queen on my birthday. And I skipped the cake.
I think on your birthday you should have whatever you want.
That's right. And I didn't have cake, and I didn't want cake, so Mark bought me a what was it? A Blizzard.
Oreo
Blizzard.
You got an Oreo Blizzard. Yeah.
Speaking of someone who obsesses about his weight, and I do.
Yeah.
I went from 211 pounds to 160.
Sam, I can't imagine you at 211. I just can't imagine that.
Well, there's a picture of me, a photo of me with my wife and Cassie. Oops, you hear that? And Andra. With Santa Claus. And except for the outfit, it could have been me.
Oh my God.
And so I didn't know what to do. I just said, well, I guess I'm just going to keep it this way. And a guy who in my apartment building had lost 90 pounds.
Wow.
And I said, how did you do it? And he said, I cut out eating anything white and I work out. So I cut out everything white and I worked out. We have a gym here and I worked out 1 hour a day, 40 minutes on the elliptical and 20 minutes lifting weights. And I would walk 3 miles a day.
Oh, wow.
And
So-
and I,
Loss is diet and exercise. That's right.
yeah, and so it's everything. And so then I got and this was like years ago. This is like 8 or 9 years ago. And so then when I got cancer, I dropped more weight
Wow.
to the point that I weighed 146.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
people were looking at me, people I knew, and they go, "Hi, how's it going?"
How's it going?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I said to Barbara, I said, I know it's because I have cancer, but I really like this weight I'm at. She goes, "People think you're dying. Eat a fucking cheeseburger."
Right.
Okay.
There's the cancer diet that I don't recommend for anyone.
It's really bad.
The emaciated look is not a good one on anybody.
I have rich Protestant relatives, and they would be something more along the lines of, well, at least stage 4 is slimming. Would you like a highball? Yeah,
swimming is a great exercise.
Greer Banford does a bit about her mother who died of cancer. She's like, I don't know, but I'm finally getting to my Weight Watchers. I finally hit my Weight Watchers weight.
Your goal weight. Swimming is a wonderful way to exercise, actually, especially if you have joint pain and arthritis. And
it's perfect
like that, because you're in the water and it helps take some of the pressure off your muscles and things. That gravity.
And by the way, have you seen the body on these swimmers in the Olympics?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And when you mentioned boat in your car,
Jason
in your taxi, I thought you were talking
He's not
about
doing pornography anymore. He's watching the Olympics.
He's watching
Okay,
the
there
Olympics.
we go.
I do. I'm on a porn site for busy people. It's called Pornhub.
That's funny.
Oh dear. Well, you gentlemen don't need to worry too much about what I'm uploading or downloading off my. I realize that I am sharing this with my favorite friends and with you two, and so
Friends.
So yeah, I mean,
friends.
My
and the 3 people watching.
Yeah, well, they you know what? I like I said, I've had a bigger live feed on Grindr, but
keeping it active.
Hey, it don't worry about it, guys. It's all good. There's nothing going on nefarious. I wish that there were. I mean, I'm at that stage in life where it's like it's just all sort of fading into the past, but like I say, the past like being like Wednesday, but what are you gonna do? This whole damn calendar thing. I don't get it.
I'm at the stage of life that's I think classified by scientists as larva.
Exactly.
I'd like to think that I live for my Monday nights at 8, but I got to tell you, once the boat driving starts, the end of April through the beginning of September, this kind of takes a back seat to my boat driving. That is a great gig.
Now is boat driving
it's a nice trip too. Or... I have to say, I went twice in the past week. The day
once on
before
the day
of my birthday.
Is this at Kensington or what? Where is this?
I drive the tour boat. I tried the tour boat at Kensington Metro Park
on Kent Lake. It's a 45-minute tour. And the one on my birthday, the Eagles made appearances. So I got to see both the male eagle, the female eagle, and the baby sticking out.
Oh, I thought you meant Glenn Fry.
About to say, and Don Henley. I mean,
eagles, the ones that the birds of prey.
These are American bald eagles we have in our park.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah, they said, "Oh, it's Susan's birthday. We'll make an appearance."
Yeah.
How much is a boat ride?
$6.
It's four if you're 62. So come on out for 4.
I'm 63. I got the $2 right here.
Hello.
Do you think naming the boat the SS Jimmy Hoffa was a little too on point?
Could be.
It's called the Island Queen.
It's called the Island Queen.
Well, that could mean that perfect. There's a lot of people with that name. Let me tell you.
Now paging Jason Grant. Now paging Jason Grant.
Jason Grant, please report to the Island Queen. Jason Grant, please report to the Queen.
Hey, Jason, I found a great shirt for you over at the Pilot. It was called Queen of the Rodeo.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I'm more of a nautical theme. Key West, Fire Island, San Francisco. All the manly ports. There you go.
I can get that boat whenever I want to. So whenever we want to do a show from a boat.
Have you ever been to Fire Island, Jason?
No, but I've heard stories, and I haven't had my vaccinations yet.
You know, the
so
nice thing about Fire Island is that there are people there who are not gay, and
What?
it's a very oh, absolutely.
What?
Barbara and Andra and I went there one year for a week. No, and it's very harmonious. No one cares.
Is that the one? Is that on the Atlantic side of Long Island?
Yes.
So it's a
Yes.
place where everybody.
No,
can
I'm
get
told.
along,
I'm
isn't
told that's where Fire Island is.
I heard.
No, I mean,
I've heard that's where it is. I don't know.
That's right. Home of the Speedo. That's
Well,
it.
it's good to see you all. I hope you get to some of the topics in the poem. I was interested in the goats that Los Angeles County is employing to help with keep fires.
I use goats too, but not for fire.
No, wait a minute. Are they using goats to what? Eat the grass that's
eat the
drying
grass?
out?
Yep.
Eat the grass that's drying out on the hills.
Yeah, well, they used to do that for when I drove by. They were doing it to clear out all the alley on the side of the road. They would have them all going through eating out the
yeah. And maybe the
grass.
homeless in the tent cities can milk the nannies, and I don't know.
I bet they live
We'll
for
have
that.
cheese will pay for the homeless people.
Okay, between Andy saying eating out and
Feed
someone else
the
saying
poor
milk the granny,
people
I
cheese.
don't know.
Let me see. I don't have a place to live, but for the opportunity to pull goat tit. Yeah.
Remember,
There you go.
remember when
Oh,
our
yeah.
government gave away a lot of
Living the
cheese?
dream.
Sam,
That's
you
right.
make that sound so damn hot, though. I mean, goddamn. Never mind.
I'm a phrase master.
Indeed.
It's actually an old solution to a new problem. It's actually a good. I liked reading the story. So anything
Speaking of old solutions, how about that
in
Bill
the
Belichick?
poem, you got to give to me in advance.
All right.
All right.
We'll definitely talk about. Let me see on the list here. I want to talk about Willie Mays and Donald Sutherland.
And Donald
Yeah.
Sutherland. I mean, I didn't know Willie Mays was still with us.
By Susan.
Not trying to be mean to him.
93.
93 years
Wow.
old. and still with us.
Well,
In a way,
well, Sutherland was 89.
Yeah.
The
Who was?
greatest speaking voices of all time.
Donald
Yeah.
Sutherland. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Donald Sutherland.
Well,
yeah.
no, not Willie, but
Well,
Yeah.
Willie
He was the say hey kid.
and according to friends of mine who grew up in New York at that time, a champion stickball player.
Oh,
There
how
you
about
go.
that? That's great. He's one of the best baseball players of all time. He plays stickball.
Hit with power, run, field, and throw. He had all five.
Mickey Mantle said he was the best player I ever saw.
A lot of people, and now that he's gone, a lot of people are saying that he's the best.
Wow.
That's why people like Ty Cobb and Pete Rose, even though they had a lot of hits, couldn't hit with power.
You know, now that they've included the Negro League stats into the Major League stats, does that boost Willie Mays' numbers?
It must.
Yeah, I
It
think
has to. It definitely lowered Cobb's numbers. So
I'm not worried about Cobb. Cobb redeemed himself.
Cobb will be all right.
Did he?
He did.
How?
He came and did opening day pitches for the Negro Leagues.
Did he really?
He really did, and he also we have a Negro League ballpark that's still with us today, probably one of the few in the country, and because he played there, played a game in the Negro Leagues after he had retired. Well, of course he retired. He was like in his 70s or something, but just to give them some credit, he played there. So now that's like a historical ballpark and stuff.
yeah.
So I'm trying to get some people to take my idea. You know how they do the Field of Dreams game, the Kevin Costner game out in Iowa every year? I think they should do a game on that field in Hamtramck where they played the Detroit Stars played the Negro League games.
I usually surprise people who know me and my love of sports when I tell you this, but I walked out of Field of Dreams.
What?
Yep. And I'll tell you why. I had a very specific reason.
Okay.
I saw the game. I saw the movie. You remember Jim Villanucci?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
I saw it with him. We were working together. He's a radio guy now, but I saw it with
He's
Jim
from,
Villanucci.
he's from Cincinnati? Is that who I'm thinking of? Or
I
from
don't
New
know
York?
what town. I don't. Nice guy.
Yeah.
Nice guy. And so we're watching the movie, and I said, and this is like half an hour in, I said to him, if they if they try to demonstrate to me that these two people, Kevin Costner, I don't remember who his wife was, Amy Madigan, maybe.
Yeah, that was close.
Okay, if they try to
That
demonstrate,
was close. That's how much we think of. That's how much we think of Amy Madigan. Yeah, she was one of those actresses.
Yeah, well, you know, she's married to Ed Harris.
Yes. So it was Amy Madigan. Yes.
And
Okay.
so I'm you know, I said if they try to beat it through my skull one more time that these two people used to be hippies, I'm leaving. I can't take it. I mean, they did everything, but hey, man, wow, cool. I can't take it. What's the next thing on the goddamn screen? Them pushing a baby carriage with Berkeley on their T-shirts. I said, good night and good luck. I said, I'm leaving. He goes, and he goes, are you really?
I tell you, my favorite seeing a sports movie with a comedian story is Chris Veneman. Do you remember Chris Veneman?
Yes.
Out of Cleveland?
Yes.
We're in Dayton, Ohio.
Say Dayton?
Dayton.
Uh-huh.
This was Sobel's room in Dayton. There was another room there. Oh, there was what's his name had a room there? Wiley. Wiley had a room there, but this
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, but this was Sobel's room in Dayton, and Chris and I are co-headlining, and his wife was there because they had a great condo. The guy that owned the owner just book it. The guy that owned it was the guy that invented pound puppies. They were loaded up the
invented what?
Pound puppies. Remember that?
Yes.
That collectible craze from back in the 80s.
Right.
So we go to see Major League, and that's the fictitious Cleveland Indians beating the Yankees on the last day.
Love that movie.
And, yeah. Anyway, so we're sitting there, and we had already seen A Fish Called Wanda and whatever else was out that year, but we're sitting there in the theater, and the Cleveland Indian, and you see the actors as the players jumping up and down. You see the fans high-fiving each other. And you see Bob Eubanks, who had a great role as the announcer in that film.
Harry Doyle.
Yeah, exactly. And all of a sudden I hear, and I turn over, and it's Chris Veneman, grew up in Cleveland, longtime Cleveland Indians fan. He goes, "This is the best movie ever."
Oh wow, really?
Yes. That's at that time. That was the closest the Indians had ever come, was in a movie. You know, since before he was born in 1955 when they won their last pennant. You know?
Well, you know, one of the best things I've ever heard. No one's funnier. Let me put no one has a funny, dry sense of humor like Bob Uecker.
Oh my God, yes.
At his Hall of Fame speech,
one of the best.
And he goes, you know, I have a lot of good memories. I remember the manager handing me a bat and saying, all right, let's see what you can do to stop this rally. But Joe Gaggiola had a great line, too. They said, were you a bad hitter? He said, was I a bad hitter? I got the take sign on 3 and 2.
Wasn't it Bob Uecker that said, or Bob Uecker that said, the problem we have in Michigan with Bob Uecker is that we had an announcer here for U of M for years and years named Bob Uecker. So that was kind of confusing for us to have Bob Uecker and Bob Uecker. But anyway, Uecker wasn't he the one that did the line where they're going, we want Bob. The coach goes, get over there and see what they want.
Yes. Also, he had that great line from the Miller commercial. Oh, I must be in the front row.
Oh, that was
front row.
Oh, shit.
But at his Hall of Fame speech, the audience, which is, you know, a lot of great baseball players, you know, they were dying laughing.
Oh, I know. That Hall of Fame speech and his first Carson appearance are just too close. Both of those made him. One at the beginning of his career, and not baseball career, but his spokesman, light beer pitching career. You know, because he's had to have made more money off of that light beer pitching.
Just one pin, Rodney.
All right, we said we're anything about the Celtics and the Mavericks? No big deal. Celtics win. We knew that was going to happen. So.
Best team won by far.
Oh yeah. Everybody before the playoffs started, everybody knew the Celtics were going.
And when the Mavericks won that one game and they killed them,
Yeah.
To me, that was just like saying, okay, we got our ass kicked. Now let's go back and beat them.
God, what's it like to have professional basketball? That must be great. If only Detroit.
By
had
the
a
way,
team.
is anyone happier than Monty Williams?
To be fired?
$65 million they owe him.
Yes.
You know what?
Wow.
He beat Conan O'Brien by 20 million because Conan only got 45 million when they
He
can't.
should have gotten 45 cents.
Yeah.
You know,
Hold on. He had
Not
a
a
contract.
fan, huh?
He had a contract.
Not.
I was talking to Ned one time, and I said, because Ned shocked me. I mean, there's no reason it shocked me, but it just did. When he was talking about Joan Rivers' daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said she was a bitch, just a total bitch. And that surprised Melissa. That surprised me. I don't know why, but it did. It surprised me. But we were talking about Conan O'Brien. And I said to him, we were texting. I said, am I wrong, or is he the most overrated late night host ever? And of course, I couldn't say this to Ned because he was too young, but there was a guy named Les Crane.
God, that name
sounds familiar. Yeah.
Very familiar. Who was Les Crane?
And the difference between Les Crane and Conan O'Brien is that Conan O'Brien had what I call the Ivy League sense of humor. That, well, I think this is very amusing little repartee. Oh, bitch, shut up. You know, please. You know,
well, he was a Harvard grad, so
Where would you put the Chevy Chase talk show disaster in all that? Because does it even qualify?
I don't count that because that was 6. Well, and there was Magic Johnson.
Oh, Magic Johnson too.
Yeah, but I don't even count Chevy Chase. Once he did that thing in the opening show,
right?
Goldie Hawn is singing to him,
right?
I still have nail marks where I dug them into my palm. It was so bad. Bad.
Because that only got what a month, less than a month. I mean,
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Here's something that needs to be seen. Andy, what was his name?
Rooney.
No,
Cap.
The guy who did Mighty Mouse Saturday Night Live. What was his name?
Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman interviewing Elaine Boozler. Have you ever seen that clip?
Interviewing who?
I like that.
Andy Kaufman interviewing Elaine Boozler.
No, I never saw that.
I'm gonna find it. Oh, wait a minute.
Can you get it on YouTube?
I got my other laptop here. I'm gonna find it. Oh, are you kidding? It's so
didn't
easy
those two date for a time, or am I
did
mistaken?
They did date for a time. And she also lived with Robin Williams platonically.
Well,
let me ask you guys a question. Why do you think Robin Williams got such a pass on being such a thief?
My understanding, now you tell me if I'm wrong, because you guys are more knowledgeable, that there was a comedian who had seen Robin use his material on television one too many times. He came into the Comedy Store and laid him out.
Tim Thomerson.
Tim Thomerson.
That did happen.
Didn't lay him out, but he grabbed him and he slammed him up against the wall. And he said, the next time I see you do this, I'm going to fuck you up. But here's what happened. A couple of weeks later, Robin is once again stealing his material, and Thomerson's attitude is, what am I going to do? Am I going to go to jail for hitting this shit? No, I don't know what to do. And there was another comic, I can't remember his name now, but he would call Robin and go, Robin, you know who it is, and you know what you have to do. And Robin would send him a check.
Well,
so I spent the better part of that year trying to perfect this guy's voice.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, different times. I mean, also, you know, social media didn't exist back then, so you're dealing with rumor and innuendo at best amongst people who are in the industry.
But he absolutely was a thief.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
so he never actually
he might have gotten a pass because most people didn't know he was a thief until after he had made stardom, right?
Well, he went on stage at Saturday. He went on stage at Catch a Rising Star after he'd finished his set. That's another thing he was a shitbag about. You know, people are waiting to get on, and he did what I call a Chappelle. He would do like an hour and a half and screw people out of their set. They couldn't go on. Yeah. They ran out of time. You know, the place had to close eventually.
Yeah.
But he came up, but that was the Coke doing that to him. But he runs back on stage after he finishes and goes through this little dramatic thing where he's the judge, jury, and defense lawyer talking about, I don't know how it happens. It just happens. It comes into my head. And I think that's such bullshit. You know,
Right.
you're a grown man with a functioning brain for a while. And
until 2014. Until 2014.
So you think he never did any improvisation at all?
no, I don't.
It was
No,
all-
I
it
don't
was
cut
all
him
this,
any
he had
slack.
it in his head and clicked it out. Okay.
Louis.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's me.
He was a charismatic guy. I mean, his performance was charismatic. I mean, to the crowd out there, it looked good, but
it looks great.
You know, it wasn't until really you know the whole Joe Rogan Mencina. It's been covered, but that was a turning point when he called out, because Carlos was rolling big at the time. TV shows.
I'll tell you who.
And
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
you know, well, say, I mean, you and I both remember, you know, Greg calling out Dennis Leary, who was stealing from Bill Hicks,
God,
while Bill
what
Hicks
balls.
was still alive and hooked up to the chemo machine and couldn't do anything about it. But that thing about Carlos Mencina being roasted by Rogan, Mencina.
Now there's a guy who stole and was arrogant about it.
Yes, he was like, I'll steal everything from you.
And now he doesn't get work.
Yeah. Milton Berle was renowned for having thieves go out.
But in those days, you're right. But in those days, they all stole.
Yeah, you know. I mean, I remember people making jokes about Uncle Milty.
Yeah, and Milton
but
Berle.
they all. There's a line in Broadway Danny Rose where Corbett Monica is talking to Morty Gunty. God, that I never thought I'd say those two names again. And Corbett Monica goes, I'm working at this club the other night, and I do this joke, and it bombs. And Morty Gunty goes, it bombs? He goes, yeah, what's the joke? He said, I check into a hotel, and the guy says, it's only $10 a night, but you got to make your own bed. I said, okay. So then he gives me some slats and nails and a hammer. And Morty Gunty says, you do that joke? That's my joke. And Morty Gunty laughs. He goes, oh, I'm sorry. I thought, and they giggle about it.
Yeah.
That was a very different time.
All right. I got a clip. It's 9 minutes, and we have 23 minutes left, so I think I can play it here.
Who is that? Says Sam not wearing his glasses.
Oh,
it's Andy Kaufman.
Is it on the screen already? Hold on, let me.
Yeah.
Playing Tony. What's his name?
Yeah,
Tony Clifton.
Yeah,
Tony Clifton. There you go. All right, this is. Here we go. Does this work? Let's try it. Okay, this is Andy Kaufman interviewing Elaine Boozler. Let me make sure I can get the sound on it too here.
Tell me what you think of me. All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Come on, thank you. Very good, Tony. Okay, very good. Yeah, okay, well, I think we're going to get on to our guests now, and yeah, okay. Okay, here, Tony, you just have a seat, and you just sit there. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the show, and here you go. You just sit down. All right, I'm going to make myself comfortable, make myself at home. That's right. You just make yourself at home. That's right. I'm going to tell you something, Kaufman. Anytime during the show, if I catch any of the guests here shooting a bull, I catch anybody in a lie or untruth, or phony baloney, let me tell you something. They're going to have to answer to me. Okay. Well, we'll watch it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a very popular young comedian. She appears on all the major television shows, including The Tonight Show, and very frequently she's been seen on The David Letterman Show. She also has a special now running on Showtime called Night of a Dozen Stars, and she's a favorite with audiences on stages all across the country. She appears very frequently in Atlantic City and is a successful writer of movies and television, including the Rodney Dangerfield special and a variety series for NBC. Please welcome Elaine Boozler. Okay. So how are you?
Oh, fine.
Uh-huh.
Nice audience. Real nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
Thanks
they're
for coming.
great. Oh, thank you very much for having me. I haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah, a long time,
I
actually.
know, it's been a long
It's been
time.
years, I think.
What have you been doing all this time?
Working. No, working on the road,
Yeah,
watching comedians come and go.
Yeah, you know, Elaine and I used to go together about up until about 8 years ago for about 2 years.
Two and a half.
2.5.
That half
And that
year.
was when we both lived in New York City. Have you been to New York?
I've been there a lot. It was fun. I think about those days sometimes when we were really struggling, and then you made it real big way before me, and
Thank you.
didn't really help me. But
What interesting things have
about
you
doing?
yeah, New York. Yeah, have you been in?
I ran into an old friend of ours. Remember Ed? I ran into him, and he's doing real good. He's married now. I went out with him after.
I know. I remember you went up to the Catskills. Did you? What did he do in the Catskills? When you went there? Yeah, for that job.
Well, it was very, very old people, and he didn't look at the audience. The audience came out senile old women in his building who would take out their teeth and wipe them on his jacket and stuff. He's a brilliant. And then he was talking about funerals and everything. So it was really very depressing.
I stayed at your apartment, and you said you were going away with your parents. You remember this is about towards the second year, and you said that you were going to go away with your parents. And I could stay in your apartment because I lived on Long Island and she lived in New York City, and I wanted to stay in the city. So I found out that you had gone with him, and then I called you at your house, and I remember.
Well, I think at that time, I think we both were wanting to break up, right?
Well, actually, sometimes I would wake up in the morning and I'd think I'd like to tell you that we're going to break. I'd say, well, I've got to tell her tonight we're going to break up.
Really?
Yeah. And then that night I'd get up to you, and then you'd say,
towards the end of the 2.5 years, or during,
a lot of times, because we were constantly breaking up and going back together. And I would say, I'm going to tell her tonight we're going to break up. And then I'd get to you, and you'd say, Andy, we've got to break up. And I'd say, no, because I didn't want to.
Well, also, I was the only one earning any money for us, and so you couldn't really leave, I guess.
That was because I was performing every night in the nightclubs, and you didn't get paid in those days for 3 years. You didn't get paid. But Elaine had a job. You were hostessing at
7 nights a week.
Improvisation in New York, and so she had the only one of the two of us that would make any money.
So I supported us.
Yeah.
And then you made it in Taxi, and this is the first time I knew you in about 6 years. What kind of things
did we do?
Remember when you tried to get Chris to fix you up with that little ballet dancer?
What? Who?
What's her name? The one he's married to now?
Oh, that, yeah.
So you always
What about that?
You were always trying to, and then then you went out with people on heroin after that. I think you put me through a lot of stuff. Just a lot of stuff that I think I'm surprised that you asked me to do the show with you, quite frankly.
No, that's because I
never told anybody that I went out with you. I never, because I wanted to really be.
You didn't have to worry about that. But I asked you to do the show because I figured you're an old friend. We went out for 2.5 years, and it's been 10 years that we've known.
Hey, Mark, what is this about? Is this funny?
Each other.
Right.
And I thought we were still friends.
Hold on.
We are friends.
And we can work together.
Yeah, I think so.
Is this a performance or is this an actual interview?
Both.
Well,
okay.
it's a come on. Basically they're making fun. Look at how high his
that was funny. I'm saying that's funny.
So this wasn't. I'm just saying. Yeah, it does, because that's Andy Kaufman. Of course, it's
playing it very straight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, and it's got some of those really neat little jabs in it, like, yeah, you were the only one getting paid. She's like, yeah, I'm working 7 nights a week. He's like, well, yeah, that's great.
Well,
I mean,
No,
it's
the video on the video was stopping and starting on my.
Oh, was it? Oh,
Ah.
sorry about that. Well, it was no Dave Attell, but I mean, in its time, everybody knew that it was sort of a put on.
Oh yeah.
And so that whole, and that was that whole show, that the Andy Kaufman show, was a one-time thing for like Showtime, but they set it up as if he was a regular talk show host, and so that was the whole. And of course, she was, I don't think they scripted it, but she knew what she was getting into when they did that. And she was instructed to give it just the same as he was giving it to her. So,
okay.
Anyway,
I
guess we didn't need to see all 9 minutes of it to get the joke. I mean, it does go on.
I understand it was a joke.
Jesus, I just won it 2 days, 3 days ago.
It was not going through smoothly on my side, so I was gonna go. I thought.
Yeah, well, that's the problem I have with doing 2 feeds on my internet connection. I'm good with one. I'm barely good with one, and when I get to 2, that sometimes.
Well, I mean, if you ever watch,
Right?
I know I've been grooving on
Thank
this
you,
a lot
sweetheart.
lately, but the whole Fred Willard, Martin Mull thing from Fernwood Tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very much like Fernwood Tonight. Fernwood Tonight was so they were kind of copying.
Yeah, if you don't pay attention, because again, those two are just shooting stuff back at each other all the time, and it's beautifully played. Fred Willard was always able to capture that sort of like guy with the brain of a gerbil, but being able to say the exact wrong thing in the exact wrong place.
Yep.
And of course Martin Mull just perfecting his sort of asshole lounge lizard persona.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, it's improvisation in some respects. I mean, Fred Willard was a great improvisational guy from
the Ace Trucking Company.
Ace Trucking Company. Yeah.
He was a great illustrator. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, Martin Mull's a great illustrator.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I knew Mull is what's his name? Oh heck, my brain is melting down. Robert Klein started out right about the same time as Fred Willard. He mentions that he and him were both auditioning for the same comedy troupe when they were trying to get back in. And again, Robert Klein in 2 years goes from like being in college and doing a little bit of improv to having his own summer replacement show on CBS.
Yeah.
Which
you turn that down? Man, yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a trajectory. I mean, granted, the man.
I hear music. Is there music still going on, or?
Oh, did I leave music on? I don't have music on.
No. I think it's some bleed over from Sam. I think
that could be. I can mute him and see what happens. Let's mute Sam and see what happens here. Do you hear the music still?
No.
Well, it's in Sam's room then. Something's going on there.
Unless it's the sound of the heavenly choir calling me to the other side, which can't happen soon enough, frankly.
Well, now he's back on.
There he is.
Okay. All right. We can talk to him now. Bring Sam back up.
My phone was ringing, so I had to let it go because 90% of the time it's what's the word, robocall.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'm sick of that crap.
But so if I don't recognize the number, but sometimes I don't want to like cut it off because it could be but there's sometimes it'll say unverified number, but most of the time I have to just let it ring. So sorry about that.
Well, we know it's not your cousin Mendel because you buried him at the beginning of the show. I mean,
that's right.
Yeah, so we know he's not calling.
So I put on my voicemail, I say, leave a message and I'll get back to you. If you don't do that, I'll assume you're a robot and not call you.
Oh, yeah.
God knows there's plenty of those.
And everybody says, I'm not a robot. Okay, fine. Come on,
Well, you know what a friend of mine does is he picks up the phone and they go, is this David Jones? He goes, David's dead.
David just died.
Keep the discussion going. I'll be back. I'll be able to hear you, but I got to step out for a second. Hold on.
Okay.
At any rate, Donald Sutherland has left the building.
Yes.
Alan Alda gets all the credit for playing Hawkeye on television. I still much prefer the way Sutherland did it in the movie.
Mhm.
Obviously, the difference between a movie and a TV show. But what a great actor.
One
Really
of the
miss
things
him.
that always bothered me about the TV show MASH is that it was more, in terms of mindset, it was more about Vietnam than Korea.
Well,
Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah.
And there was a
exactly.
line, and you can't see this anymore. They had it taken out. In the first episode of MASH, what's her name? Hot Lips says something snarky to Alda, right? The Phil
Yeah.
Donahue of TV.
Yes.
And
yeah.
he looks at someone, he goes, I'd rape her, but I think she'd enjoy it. And I heard that line. I heard that line. And there's also like, I love the little episode where a guy's stepping out of a tent and he's looking around and it was a nurse's tent. He's pulling his zipper up and I go,
Yeah.
well, haven't we got all Phil Donahue-ish? Yeah.
Oh,
But the TV show is much more about Vietnam than Korea.
Yeah.
When the movie though, when he's with Robert Duvall playing Frank Byrne or playing with, and he's talking to him in that quiet. Well, I mean, come on. I mean, is she better than self-abuse or what? I mean, does her ass kind of move or does it lay there sort of limpid in the moonlight? I mean, and and again, the way both those actors play that scene out, because Duvall's very, very internal, very, it's not like the way it was played on the TV show at all.
And also, remember when Elliot Gould punches him?
Oh God!
And
yes.
he does something very realistic. He hurts his hand.
He hurts his hand.
Punching him, and that's what you would do if you really slugged somebody.
Was that back when Elliot was still Mr. Barbara Streisand, or had they divorced by then?
That was brief.
Oh, yeah, I did. I mean, I had to be told. I didn't even know that it had happened until I saw her kid was like in some of the movies. And I was like,
he met her.
No idea.
He met her during the Broadway play of "I Can Get It For You Wholesale."
Oh,
that's where they met. And
that had to be like early '60s.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So you have to think to yourself, how far back was that, and how long did that last? But there was never any acrimony between them. There was never any, you prick, I hope you die kind of thing. Not like my last marriage, no, nothing like that. Somebody said to me, I'm sorry, somebody said to me, your second, I've been married 3 times. They said, your second wife, did she die? And I said, yes. Well, what did she die of? I said, it was some kind of brain disease. It rendered her unable to speak, and it just, well, how do you think it happened? I said, well, I'm not a doctor, but she drank a lot and she smoked a lot of weed and she never exercised. So, I mean, I'm sorry she's dead. She was a nice person, but, that's what I think it is. I don't know, but that's what I think it is. And then he said, and how about your first wife? I said, my first wife is 74 years old and has been smoking for 55 years. And there's no sign of her dying.
That's one big cigarette.
Marlboro Reds.
Marlboro Reds. Wow.
And I said to her, I said, how can you're not a stupid person. How can you do this to yourself? How can you continue to smoke? And she goes, well, it's, I said, don't give me a well, And she goes, we're not married anymore. I said, I know, but I still care about you. She says, you just want to get laid. I go, well, yeah, but I just figured the amount of time you have left, you might want to give it a shot. So, but something she said I found very touching. She has 2 kids from her first marriage. She's married 4 times, 4. And she said to me, I never told you this, but my kids adored you. They loved you more than they loved their dad. You were funny and nice and easygoing. I said, in other words, I let them get away with shit. And they said, no, not at all. They said, in that way you were strict. No, not at all. But, like if it was time to get in the car, get in the car. No, you didn't tolerate anything, but you were fun to be with.
Did you take off? Now, did you take off if they didn't get in the car? Because that's always been my...
I would back it up just to let them know who's boss.
You got to keep your foot on the neck of the little bastards, otherwise they'll try and run the show.
Her son, Joey,
Ain't that the truth?
is a radio talk show host.
That's cool.
And her daughter is a lawyer, married with 2 kids. Joey's never married. I worry about Joey because he's gotten very, 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 very big.
Jason?
Oh, dear. What?
Well,
is that Zardos behind you?
Yeah, it looks like it. Burt Reynolds Zardos?
No, that's Sean Connery.
Sean Connery in the outfit that was planned for Burt Reynolds, but Burt didn't want to do the movie for some reason or another.
So he wised up, is what you're saying.
So,
you know, Sean Connery was doing The Untouchables. They did some of the scenes in Chicago.
Yeah.
And this friend of mine, I asked him one time, we were having a drink, and I said, "What's your most embarrassing moment?" He says, "Oh, that's easy. That's really easy." He said, Sean Connery was sitting on a little chair reading the newspaper during a break when they were making The Untouchables, and I was taking his picture. And it was like this. I took like 6, 7, 8 pictures in a row. And finally, he folds the paper, slams it down, and says, "Jesus Christ, lad, enough is enough. You want one of my balls? Get the fuck out of here." And I said, "Why did that embarrass you?" He said, "An Academy Award-winning star is screaming at me that I'm an asshole." I said, "Yes, so? It wouldn't embarrass me. I mean, it's not like, you got a pee stain on your pants. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing."
Well, it depends on whether
he yelled at you and called you a schmuck. Actually. It's okay. When I told you the story, when they used to have this thing in DC, in the hotels, Channel 8 it was, and they showed you all the sights and things you could do in DC, for people checking into the hotel. And it was the Four Seasons. Right. And one of the things they say is, there's a happening comedy. I love when they say it's happening. There's a happening comedy scene in DC, and it was me. It was me, and it was me doing a joke about Reagan. And the joke was, Reagan may be physically the strongest president that's ever lived. Think about it. He was shot and didn't know it. And then I go like this: bang, hey, bang, woo, hey, still here. And Cary Grant had checked in, and he saw that. And he called the owner of the hotel, because it's Cary Grant. He ain't calling the fucking manager. Yeah. He says, "I want that little bastard off of the screen."
Wow.
So somebody said to me, "Well, were you pissed about that?" I said, "Are you kidding? I pissed off Cary Grant to the point that he called the owner of the hotel." Of course I wasn't upset. I was flattered. I got a rise out of Cary Grant, which I hear wasn't hard for a guy, if you know what I mean.
No, if you know what I mean.
If I boom.
Hey,
what was that guy's name? Jackie. Oh God.
Jackie.
He played like a hipster. Oh, his real name was Rosenthal.
Jackie Diamond.
Jackie Mason.
Jackie Diamond. Why did the Italians? Because they ordered ziti, not shells. Bang! I'm a gunslinger.
Jackie Diamond, that was such a great act, Jackie,
and could play great piano.
When you had people like Haywood Banks that was playing a character, and and what's his name, the cable guy playing a character. They weren't playing themselves. Character. I don't understand why Jackie Diamond didn't make it. That was such a great character.
It was a brilliant. By the way, did you ever see the guy who? His act was he was a robot.
Oh shit! We only got a minute left. Go ahead. What was the act?
Well, he would do a bit, and he'd go, and he looked, and he was made up to look like a robot.
And
he goes, "Thank you very much." Like,
oh. Well, I remember when what's his name? Max Headroom. Max Headroom did stand. Remember that?
No, this wasn't Max. I know who you're talking about, but it wasn't Max Headroom. But God, that guy was funny. It was kind of, it was kind of like, Hiram Caston passed away. We didn't mention that, did we?
We talked about that last week.
Oh, okay. Did I mention I'm senile?
Yes. You are senile.
Did I
talked a
mention
lot
I'm
about
senile?
Hiram last week. Yeah.
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
Oh, never mind.
A lot of comics.
You want to go to Starbucks?
A lot
Okay.
of comics
one
and
every
some great
quarter.
tributes for Hiram Casson. But we got to go. We're out of time. Stay on the line, boys. We'll talk later.
I'm
Everyone
going to
else,
leave
back
because
here.
I want to watch the hockey game.
All right. Next Monday night, 8 o'clock. We'll see you then. Bye, everybody. Oh, it'll be
Ciao for
July.
now.
Next week will be
now,
July.
Sean
so
Corey
that'll
says
be
goodbye.
fun. All right. Talk to you later, everyone.